What is up, everybody? We are here with another review. We're here with episode 7 of Invincible, and this was a special episode. Very, very, very hectic, very
Huh.
crazy, just all around nuts. And I'm really excited to talk about it. I was gonna do the review on my own, but I'm like, nah, I need my boy Ronin here because I think we need to freak out about it together. It's on top of the episode just being all out nuts, we had a very interesting ending, which
Oh,
is hyping up what's to come with episode 8. So I know a lot of people are excited, a lot of people are confused. Me personally, I just have a lot of questions, but I want to hear your thoughts of this episode because I know you're familiar about a lot of stuff that happens in the book, but like what are your thoughts on this episode?
it's weird because I'm familiar with stuff in the book, and yet there's stuff that I'm not familiar with. Like I've heard of the Invincible War. I've heard of it. I've heard of Conquest. I've heard of it. I've heard of him and whatnot. So it was a cool. It was a fascinating dynamic to just realize something big was going to happen in this episode, but to what extent or what details, I wasn't 100% sure. And um, as chaotic as harrowing this episode felt like to me, I love that beyond the pop and explosions, whatnot, I still was engaged with the characters and their well being. Um, I mean, Invincible is the star of the show. Adam Eve and Debbie Grayson are probably the heart of the shows. But to me, when we focus on Rexplode and Shrink Ray,
Ah,
my spirit was put through the fucking ringer. And
you didn't need to read the books to know what was happening there.
no,
Like the just the vibes that they were giving off, the development they were pushing. I mean, I myself am a little familiar with the books, but still, it's not rocket science the way they were setting it up. It's they were pushing it so heavily, and it's unfortunate that it had to happen, but it just I don't know. I feel like it's going to be really impactful for what's to come.
yeah, and to me, I just love that this was just it was almost like a hit piece. Like people who are doing damage in this episode just wanted to give a bad image to Mark Grayson in this world. And whether it be Angstrom Levy or the other invincible variants, or even Powerplex when he had his shots, it just everybody wanted to throw dirt on Mark, even though he has nothing to do with him. The world fall apart. It was all he's been the scapegoat for a lot
He's
of these
probably the
people.
only reason they were able to make it out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that the pacing felt like it was taking its time, and yet we were going through stuff. And there's a ton of stuff that's in the foreground, but it's very much background stuff. That if you're a fan of the books, it's there. I'm talking werewolf or the Wolfman. I'm talking Brit. I'm talking I think Tech Jacket and whatnot. Like there is so much
The
stuff that like
amount of characters that popped up, it was gorgeous, man, and it's like, I know a lot of people were interested in getting backstory and just information on them because it's a lot of these characters have never made an appearance, in the show, obviously. So it's like, there's so much here, there's just so much going on in this universe that still hasn't been explained, and obviously we're focusing heavily on just the Viltrumite stuff, Mark, all that stuff, but it's just it gets you so excited for what else is out there, you know? So
yeah.
they do a really good job with just, like, sprinkling in little things, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like even with the finale of season 2 when they, showed the future version of the Guardians, and, yeah, we saw Eve, we saw Robot, but we also saw a couple other characters that we've never seen before, and it's, "Oh, this is really, really cool," and I'm pretty sure we saw a couple of them,
Couple of them I think here. Yeah, yeah.
so it was a really cool, like, way that they handled it, and I was really impressed, I was really impressed.
How did you feel about the episode as a whole? Because I I think it was a perfect like, and it's weird because I've been seeing a lot of this where a lot of these great shows, at least their seasons, the penultimate episode is the one that like hits the hardest and whatnot. And this had a great crescendo upward of like nothing is working, and yet I can understand why Mark wants to take a minute off just to be in a room with Eve as she's in recovery. Or
Yeah.
I could take a minute away where Debbie is with her boyfriend and they're deciding whether they should evacuate or no, just stay on the lookout, see what's happening with the boys.
Well, I think going into the next episode, usually people might say like the episode before the finale is the crazy one, but we know, especially with the way this episode ended, that episode 8 is going to be nuts. And they just did a lot of things within this episode that like I really enjoyed. As someone who isn't too familiar with the Invincible War story, uh, I can't really say like, oh well, they did this differently or they did this differently. But as a viewer, I will say I felt like there was a lot of scenes that felt a little rushed. I feel like jam packing it all in one episode, although it still made the entire episode. I'm like grinning. I'm like, what the hell? Like this is amazing. But realistically, there was so much where there were certain scenes where I'm like, "Oh, that would have been cool to see," but they completely just cut it out, and it's like we just kind of jumped the gun and dove into like Mark, like one of the evil Marks diving in and attacking the Pentagon. How cool would that have been to be able to see everything, right away? You know what I'm saying? Seeing Shapesmith get ripped apart and us thinking he is dead. Like they did a lot of things that were really reminiscent to and I think showing that scene would have been so poetic, a version of Mark destroying the Guardians and Immortal having to live through that. And I think like showing flashbacks to Immortal like having PTSD of seeing Mark and then Omni Man and then Omni Man and like just like it would have been a really cool way to kind of announce his retirement because the way he retired here, although it's extremely justified and it makes sense, I'm like, okay, like it didn't really do as much or mean as much to me as it would have if like they were like showing like how he was feeling seeing everything happen because although I don't know if it was intentional, I'm sure one of the scenes were the scene where Mark grabbed Darkwing's leg and slammed him is exactly the same animation, the same fucking everything was the same way that they
Bro.
took out the original Darkwing, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, yeah.
Or it was one of the Guardians, I can't remember, but it was like literally bar for bar. And I'm just like, dude, this is deja vu. So
Yes.
there's certain scenes where I just would have loved to see that we unfortunately didn't. But it doesn't take away from the fact that this episode was just phenomenal.
Yeah, to me, I'm in that mix where like I love this episode, and yet it would have been nice. And again, I don't work in Hollywood. I don't work with budgets. It would have been nice if we got 3 episodes dedicated to the 3 days of the war. That
Yeah.
like
Oh,
it,
okay, okay.
it was like the first day, it's like the invasion. Second day is just like the chaos that won't stop, and you're starting to see that like even people in the super community are not trusting marketing or be like, dude, there's a bunch of you here. What the hell do you want us to do? And then the third one is the hit to the knees where like the war is stopped or stalled for the time being, and the fallout after that. And like you see each moment and have each moment have their time to breathe and whatnot. Like there's like again, I think they got really lucky with what they chose to like focus in on, like Rex or moments with Cecil and Donald, or to me another one that's probably the gut wrenching one besides Rex, what Rex and Ray go through is Debbie and Oliver. It's her, her son trying to go do help, and you feel the aching in her heart. Be like, I don't want to have another son in danger. And how much Oliver learns maturity there, and like instead of flying out, he senses his mom, looks back, and is trying to tell her like, sure, you like, mom, you need to let me go, like, and and yeah, I'm in the mix where I'm like, I love what I got, but I would have loved to see in an alternate universe what 3 episodes for 3 days of the war
Mhm.
would feel like.
And I love that. And the thing is, I feel like if we did get a stretch of the war, if you will, it would have just been really cool. Again, all these new characters that they threw out there just would have been cool to kind of dive into a little more of that, because we saw some characters that we were familiar with, and then next minute we're seeing just their bodies, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like we know Mark's power. We know the extent, like the dude is a menace. But just to see more of him just shredding up the heroes, as sick as that sounds, just would have made it feel more dangerous. But at the same time, I feel like them not showing it made it more believable that they were able to take them all out in one episode, you know?
Hmm.
And I understand they didn't officially take them all out, because I'm pretty sure some of them got like banished, right? To
Yeah.
the yeah. So, but still, it's just one of those things where it's like it's just interesting to see how they handled things. But I'm content with the episode. I thought it was super good. I thought it was solid. And going into episode 8, I'm worried, but I am extremely hyped. I am extremely hyped for what they're going to do.
I am hyped for that fight, man, because I was looking at it and people could see the reaction. That like I was so impressed with the animation in terms of combat and movement when
Yeah,
Mark was fighting Angstrom, and how the reflective ooze green of the portals was going up on his back, and how him floating to space, him punching the droids and whatnot. I
definitely
was
a
so
step
like,
up.
mwah, and like the fact that he learned, okay, drop, take back, up, float, and even extra comes on like, oh, you learned how to you tactically go against me. I enjoyed that. I don't know how long we're gonna go with this review, but I think folks that like, please experience this episode to the fullest amount.
Mhm.
Um, because I've been hearing that like this war and what's to come afterwards, which we'll talk about in a minute, it's gonna be another defining moment for Mark. The way, son, we need to talk, in season one was, or uh, Mark at that time killing Ashram Levy was a big
Mhm.
foundational moment. I've heard that this is another foundational moment for him, and also with what he's been going through with Eve. And um, before we get to the big kahuna at the end, I want to also give another shout out. We've been singing it every week, but Eve, her balance, or her empowerment to have balance in her life, with introducing Mark to her parents, and the dynamic
God, I
of
hate
like, you
them.
know what it's like to have evil parents, and he's like, babe, come on, like, come on, like daddy issues. She's like, oh fuck, right, and how she won't leave his side even when he says, get out of here, I don't want you to be in danger. She's just like, you're stuck with me. I'm going away. And I legit was like, if they fucking kill her, I'm gonna riot. I'm like, Kirkman, Prime Video, Bezos, I'm coming for your kudos. Like, fuck that shit. And seeing how, again, egoistic, he wouldn't leave her side. He wouldn't leave her side. And that beautiful scene of her mom being the one to approach him and not even realize, oh, maybe he has superpowers, he's the boyfriend, just be like, yeah, my daughter's been through a lot and whatnot, and the dad being fucking prick that he's been. It was just it was, again, there's a balance even when you want more out of an episode. There's a balance of, you see how stuff is culminating and yet being earned and paying off, but even ways that you don't want it to be paid off. Her being injured, and her parents already having this viewpoint on him, and it's like, oh, by the way, in a few days, I might even tell you I've been the one dating your daughter, and how's that gonna affect everything. So I don't know how have you felt about the dynamics between the characters outside of Mark Grayson.
I think it's been cool. One of my favorite aspects, or one of my favorite things to see is Oliver for sure. Oliver has been one of the highlights for me. He's really grown on me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing like how and where his character ends up going because the rapid aging process is still a thing. So it's gonna be really cool to see where he's at next season, even stronger, bigger. It's just gonna be really interesting to see how they handle everything. But no, I've been happy with some of the choices. Again, we had that episode with I forget his character. I always forget his character's name. The Tombstone dude. Uh, uh,
Um, oh my gosh,
yeah,
Marshall Ali, right? Yeah.
yeah. He played him in season 1. Yeah, but his character has been, like getting a whole episode dedicated to that character has been really cool. But like, it seems like they're doing a little more with other characters every now and then, which is cool. Like Rex's development again was really cool. Again, really depressing what they did. I do want to say how beautiful the moment was after he passed. Was the them playing Billie Eilish? The choice there just made things even more emotional. Um, but of course, leading into the final scene, which of course is hyping up the season finale, which is going to be Glenn getting his revenge on Negan. Which I'm gonna keep it a bug. When I first heard Conquest talk, I did not process that was Jeffrey Dean Morgan until I posted my videos today, and I just had like a whole bunch of people swarming in, just like, dude, that's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like, oh man, we're getting a rematch next episode. Oh man, like, and I'm just like, whoa. you're right, and you listen, it's like, dude, that's Negan. So
It's
Robert
in our
Kirkman has
pants
done,
yet.
yeah, Robert really fancy, yeah. So Robert Kirkman has done just a really cool job just having these Walking Dead characters sprinkled in because we have had a lot of Walking Dead actors in this show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the main one that I feel like we're missing right now, or two of them at least, is Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln. Those are two, and maybe even Deny, but like those are
Yeah.
like the big three. But like we also we've had just so many of the other characters make their way into it, and it's just been so cool. But I don't know if you have anything you want to say before we call it a day.
Bro, I I have been waiting to see. Okay, so here's the thing. A while back, Jeffrey Dean Morgan had posted a photo of him just standing like this with two volumes of Invincible volumes, if you will, big fat ones. And I was like, what does that mean? Wait, what? And again, I'm seeing the iconography of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the character he's played, and I instantly thought, like, is he playing Conquest?
Mhm.
Holy shit! What a grab! What a! And then they've been teasing Conquest. They've been teasing and teasing
Mhm.
him. And then they announced there was this actor, this great actor. I'm not. I'm blank on his name, but he's in Breaking Bad. He's in Better Call Saul. He's got this gravel voice as well. Um,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah. He plays Mike, I think. I want to say his name. I forget what his name
I
is.
think so.
I know
And
who you're talking
he
about.
played Brit, I think, in the episode. And so
Really?
I was thought, yeah, I thought either he's
Oh,
gonna play Conquest or he's gonna play somebody else. And then at first I couldn't process it because I was just like, step, prepare for my landing, worm, and just I was just in shell shock. I'm like, are you
yeah.
fucking kidding me? We're getting
And that
this
was
after all
ripped
this,
straight from the books, bro.
and yet the shot and all. And again, I was editing. It was when I was editing that like I heard little pig, and I was like ta. I was like, oh my god. And
Yeah.
again, instantly, I knew either you or another fellow friend of mine that loves Walking Dead was going to go rematch.
Yeah, I can't
And
wait, man.
bro, I cannot wait. I'm really. You have no idea how hard it's been holding back not to read ahead, to get the books, catch up to where we're at in the show, and read ahead to see
Thing
what
is, I
happened.
have the books, and my brothers read them. I just have to show some self-restraint because I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy the reactions, and
Yeah,
like I don't want to be like, oh wow, it's just like how it is in the books. I want to be like, no way, they actually did that. Like so. I enjoy watching it fresh, and my goal is to go back and read what to the point that where we
yeah,
watched, and that's what I've been doing. But obviously, I know a little more, and things are sprinkled in every now and then. But still, it's been a treat. It's been great. And
yeah.
yeah, what's your final rating?
I'll go. I'll go either. I think I'm gonna go A minus. It's an A minus for me. Like I love this episode, but then again, I'm torn of whether I wanted this to have more
Yep.
time to breathe, but yet it didn't take away from the moments that was gut wrenching and the moments that were supposed to make me more invested and feel the fallout of everything. Again, just seeing Ray drive up on the bridge and seeing the fire that said everything of like what could have been. And Oliver saving people was so happy to me, and yet when he was like, do it, I was like, oh god, not again, not like this. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope that next week's episode sticks to landing. I trusted them, and yeah, man, rematch. This might be the rematch of the century.
I think it's gonna be great. I think you said everything I wanted to say, but I think I'm gonna give it an A. I mean, only because I think it was almost perfect. I just feel like they rushed a few things. Could have been a little longer. But
Yeah.
other than that, man, I'm really impressed with what they did, and I'm super excited for more. So, where can we find you, Ronan?
You can find me at Ronin Unchained on YouTube and all the socials. Um, you can cover almost every episode of every season of Invincible. It's on the channel. You can go check that out. We got coverage for Daredevil, Born Again coming down the pipeline. On the horizon, we got Devil May Cry, Lazarus. Hopefully, we get those two. Last of Us Season 2, and Andor. And I'm probably forgetting something else, but like it's gonna be
And celebration
bombastic,
coverage.
chaotic. for the next 2 months, and you may or may not see us two traveling together in the near future, in the not too distant future. So stay tuned. And I'm almost at 1,000 subs. I want to reach 1,000 subs.
Oh yeah, bro. And of course, you can find me at Bizzy Brown on my channel, and then over here dropping reviews, and then of course on Ronin's channel, dipping in for some reactions. So stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff coming out, man, on this channel too. A lot of reviews. If you're not into Invincible, there are a lot of other shows that we cover that you will be into. Can guarantee that. So keep your eyes open and pay attention, man. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and catch y'all later. Peace out.
Bye.